Also happening yesterday, a former Easthampton firefighter pleading guilty to charges of installing secret cameras in the women's locker room in his department. 39-year-old Nicholas Tillman of Westfield pleading guilty to the following: 3 counts of videotaping intimate parts of a person without their consent, 3 counts of videotaping an unsuspecting nude person, and 1 count of attempted illegal wiretap. Back in July 2023, one of the female firefighters discovering a blue light in a locker, which was not assigned to anyone, and when she opened the locker to see what it was, she discovered that a camera was inside. She then also checked another locker and found a second camera. That firefighter reported that incident to their supervisor, who then contacted the police. Tillman has been sentenced to 8 months in prison.